Confident and masculine, I step into the stadium. Eyes wide, time flies, life like palladium. Value in the moments that be fleeting in our face and then they gone. Just before you reach your goal, they call you back home. Hey, what's good, LBK? This is Robert Jenkins coming to you on this Monday, 4 March 2024. This right here is the 25th episode of the Focus LBK show. The Focus LBK podcast. Welcome. Today, what we're going to talk about is some interesting things that I've noticed about preparedness and about certain types of articles on this website, and just reflecting on some things that's been going on lately. So our last article was Preparedness in the Panhandle. And as I'm sure all of y'all know, there's been quite a few, well, there's a huge wildfire, probably one of the largest wildfires in Texas history, is burning up there north of Amarillo, a couple hours north of us. And at one point, I don't know if it's still true, but at one point it was threatening the nuclear explosive assembly and disassembly plant up there called Pantex. And I noticed the smoke last week sometime. One night I was out and it looked like it was real smoky and foggy. And I noticed it, and then come to find out we got a wildfire going on. So I wrote an article about it, Preparedness in the Panhandle, and asking the question, are you ready to boogie if other fire or other disaster comes knocking at your door? And, I was looking at it. This article doesn't really seem like it's getting a lot of traction. It's been out since Friday morning at 6 a.m. And when I look at the stats on it, they just seem a little behind where we typically are on our views and opens and stuff like that. So we're about, I'd say, we're 25% lower than we should be. And it's weird to me. So this whole article was really about building a boogie bag and strategic relocation and that kind of stuff. It's really about being prepared. A boogie bag, in case you don't know, is very simply a pack that you keep around the house that you use just in case of emergency. In case of, say, for example, a big old fire or something, you got to jet out the house. You grab your boogie bag. So this is something that I've been interested in for many years. And I noticed, like I said, that I thought this article would hit pretty hard, seeing as how we just had a wildfire up 100 miles or so north east of us. And I thought, man, if I put this article out, maybe make some suggestions and stuff like that, people would probably be curious and interesting. And I think it's a pretty good article. It's actually a decent length. It's a fairly, not a long read, but it's got a little meat on it. You know what I'm saying? I talk about why it's a good idea to have a bug out bag. I even go down off in there and tell you what I have in my bug out bag. Y'all know I have a military background, so I don't know, ever since 9/11, man, when 9/11 hit, for some reason, I was very upset, and I don't want to go deep into all the rationale why, but I knew immediately that I should probably build myself a bug out bag. And I didn't even call it that at the time, and I'm not even sure that was something you could call it. I don't think that was a thing. I think that kind of came into the parlance, the common parlance after 9/11. But I built my first bug out bag sometime around 2003. And I just felt like if something go down, I need to be able to get down and move and groove as needed. So anyway, one of the things that you really need to do is really, seriously, consider building yourself a bug out bag. And I'm going to tell you real quick what's the contents in my bug out bag. I got basically a change of clothes. Like, let's say a fire or something hits and we got to grab our bug out bags and bug out, or we got to grab our boogie bags and boogie. I basically have a change of clothes. First of all, pair of jeans, pair of hiking shoes. I think I got 2 pairs of socks stuffed down in each shoe, 1 pair. I got a t-shirt. I got a light sweater. I got some paracord, which is, military all-purpose twine, basically. I got an individual first aid kit. I got a regular first aid kit with Band-Aids. I got some of my medications and some of the other stuff. I got a cooking pot and some heater tabs. I got a meal ready to eat, a MRE. Got some duct tape, E2, which is a shovel. Got some water purification tablets, fork, spoon, and knife. Pocket knife. Good flashlight, a compass. And I got several sources of fire. I got some matches, I got some lighters, and I got I think I got oh yeah, and I got a magnesium fire starter type of thing. The reason I have all that is because if anything go down, me and my family, we each have our own bug out bags. We can grab our bug out bags and get out of Dodge. You know, you never know if there's a fire or something, and you got the jet. It could be anything, a earthquake, tornado, you know, whatever, something that you can kind of see coming long enough to grab something and jump in the car. You got food, water, and clothing and defense, because there's a few other things in there that I'm not publicizing. Ain't none of nobody's interest but mine, you know what I'm saying? But some of those things in there, man, it's just quick things that you can have to save your life. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, in that article, I really go into 9/11 kind of started me on this journey of being a little bit prepared. We ain't no preppers. We try to be prepared. Like I say, we really get this from my grandma Dorothy, or I do. Because when I was growing up as a little boy down in Bryan, Texas, I used to visit her in the summer. This is Grandma Dorothy Parker. And I used to notice that she had probably, I would estimate, a year's worth of canned goods stacked up in the pantry and stuff. And they had self-defense weapons and hunting weapons. They had all kinds of lumber and nails, and they were what they were is they were country folks, and they knew that they were all they had in most cases. So they knew they had to be prepared to make it do what it do when it came time to. And so that's kind of where I even, you know, when I think about it and look back on it, that's kind of where I get it from. That whole preparedness mind state. It's country people. And they're country black people. And it's odd too, because you notice country Caucasians, our Caucasian brothers, these are the people that I think a lot of us, when we think of being prepared, we think of Caucasians. I literally have had brothers tell me, yo, man, that's some of that old white boy stuff. You trying to live out in the woods, trying to be a survivalist. I'm like, no, I ain't trying to be no survivalist. I'm trying to be prepared and ready just in case we got to get out of Dodge in a hurry. Simple as that. And we got some things around the house too that, just like Grandma Dorothy had, we got many backups and many systems. You don't just have one thing that do something. We have several things that do that. That old saying, 2 is 1 and 1 is none. If you got 2 of something, one gonna break or be lost or something. It ain't gonna work. So if you got 2 lighters, for example, no, what you really got is 1 lighter. If you got 2 sources of fire, you really got 1. You're gonna lose 1 or break 1. It ain't gonna work. 2 is 1 and 1 is none. That's kind of the prep and mind state right there. Being prepared. And so it's not just a rural Caucasian thing. This ain't for white folks. You know what I'm saying? This is for forward thinking folks that know that they are all they have. They know that, the first responsibility for yourself lies with yourself. So really, I guess that's why it's such a rural thing, because when you think about it, that's one of the things that separates rural people from urban people. In the city, you're surrounded by resources and people and institutions. When you are more urban or more urban, you tend to be more willing, I think, to rely on other people because you're surrounded by other people. When you're more rural, the next neighbor might not even be a mile away. It might not even be accessible, really. You know what I'm saying? So you really do have to be ready to help yourself first. Now, other people can come in later as time permits, situation permits, but first off, you got to help yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's like real simple. And that's all it was. It ain't a black or white thing. It's a knowing that you are responsible for yourself thing. And that's basically when I look at Grandma Dorothy. She was a poor farm lady, grew up. She was clean house for white folks. You know how we used to do. She also she just growing up on the farm, she knew she had to make it do what it do. My grandpa was the same way. He was good with his hands, as I say. Like I say in that poem, all our men was good with their hands. And all our women unafraid to expand. Well, that's what it was. That's what being prepared was. That's what being prepared is. I remember one of the saddest things that struck me when I think back to Hurricane Katrina That's another thing that reinforced to us that you got to be ready to handle things for yourself. But I remember there was black people trapped down in the Superdome or whatever down in Hurricane Katrina, and they were saying stuff like, why they ain't coming to save us? Who gonna come save us?" And that was so sad. Like they was grown adults talking about who gonna come save us. They should have gave us some money to get out of here. They should have did something so we can get out of here. That's another thing, by the way. Putting in your boogie bag is some cash. Because if you're in a bad situation, if the power go down, you can't use an ATM. So you need to keep about $100 or something like that at least. Put that in your boogie bag. That'll get you some gas in cash and get you down the road. Another thing that happened during Hurricane Katrina, my cousin Taurus was he from Houston, and they had to come up to. We was in San Antonio at the time, and they thought it might hit Houston, so they was telling them to be wary that it might hit Houston. You know what I'm saying? And my cousin said, "Well, we just go on and evacuate," and so they came to San Antonio to stay with us, and we learned several lessons. First of all, the freeway I-20, no I-10, is it I-10? It's 20 that go across from Houston to San Antonio. No, it's I-10. It's I-10. I-10 was backed up from Houston to San Antonio. They couldn't hardly get out of Houston. What they had to do was get off 10. I told them try to get on 90, so they got off 10 and went to Highway 90 west, and they was able to make good time. And then gas was everybody was trying to get gas, and a lot of people was lines and broke down, run out of gas on the side of the road. So gas was at a premium, and it took them, should have been about a 2.5 hour trip to get from Houston to San Antonio. I think it took them 12 hours, 9 or 12 hours, to get from Houston to San Antonio. Crazy, huh? And that turns out, as y'all know, Hurricane Katrina hit New Orleans. It didn't even hit Houston, so they didn't even actually suffer any kind of. They had some heavy rains and stuff, but they didn't suffer a direct hit from the hurricane. But they couldn't evacuate. The store shelves was empty. That's another thing. That morning when they said, "Oh man, Hurricane Katrina coming, you better get some water," I said, "Let me go to the store and get some water." So I went down to HEB and tried to get some water, man, and all the water was gone off the shelves. Just like that. Certain things was gone at 6 a.m. I went first thing in the morning. The store opened at 6. I was there like 6:05. All the water gone. Huh. Then I discovered on the other aisle, nobody wanted the big gallon water. So they took all the little bottled water, 16 ounce or whatever, but they didn't take the big ones, the gallon. So I got several gallons. We were still good to go. That helped me realize even then too, that was about 2005. And so I say, oh man, we got gaps in our prepared in our supplies. We got gaps in our self-sufficiency system. You know what I'm saying? So I tried to get some water and keep it on hand. So man, that don't sound crazy, do it? We ain't talking about running up in the mountains and getting in no bunkers and stuff like that. We ain't talking about nothing like that. We just simply talking about being able to help yourself, do for yourself right off the bat until help come. Because guess what? Honestly, I don't think there's gonna be help coming in some of this stuff. Might not be no help coming. You might be your only help. You might be your only backup. And you ain't even got nothing to help yourself. What you gonna do? Get some extra medicines too. Any medicines you need, make sure you have way more than you need just in case. Put that stuff in your boogie bag so you can be ready to get out of Dodge. So as I say, with this article right here, it seemed like it should be a real good article. It seemed like it should be real entertaining. It's timely. It's one of the first times I was able to get an article out within a reasonable time after something went down. But then, so that's why it's baffling that I said, oh, it's going to be right on time. And then the numbers is looking funny. The numbers ain't where they should be. People reading it and stuff. Maybe because I put it out on a Friday. We'll let it sit till Monday and see what happened. But yeah, this is just curious, man. So anyway, Lubbock, why don't y'all hit me up down here in the comments and let me know what y'all think about the subject matter. Why nobody said nothing? Was it the timing, or was it Lubbockites took so laid back they just can't be bothered with preparedness? Because I noticed some other articles we put out that seem important to me. They get less views than normal. You know what I'm saying? If I say it starts at home, I put an article about how instead of worrying about voting, maybe we need to worry about taking care of ourselves politically and economically instead of worry about getting so many people in office. because that way it's the same thing as being self-sufficient, prep-wise, or having your prepared stuff in your boogie bag. If you can take care of yourself in other ways, and you're just less dependent on the system, and it's less of an issue to you. The system, you ain't worried about the system trying to fix nothing. You can fix it. Well, anyway, that one didn't get too much traction either. But my colleague Kenyon wrote an article. His was called as Kenyon Andrews, Mr. Kenyon Andrews. He wrote an article, Turn Outrage into Action. And he talked about teaching and how kids come into the classroom with issues from really home. The issues they stem from things at home, but they come into the classroom. And then his solution was, we got to vote more, vote right. And I was wondering, well, to me, they seem unrelated. But that article was well received. It got 2 likes, which is, it's good for us. And it was a good article, but it's just funny how if you say vote more, vote harder, everybody's cool with it. If you say do something for yourself, everybody kind of seemed like everybody kind of back off a little bit, like, oh, hey. I'm just curious. Do y'all think that's what it is, or is it something else? Y'all let me know, man. Holler at me in the comments for real. But anyway, LBK, y'all take it easy. This is Robert Jenkins signing off for the Focus LBK show. We'll see y'all during the week with some more articles and stuff, how we do, and we'll see you next week about this same time with another episode.
Confident and masculine, I step into the stadium. Eyes wide, time flies, life like palladium. Value in the moments that be fleeting in our face and then they gone. Just before you reach your goal, they call you back home. Alone.